So, hi guys, welcome to part 2 of my personal top 10 favorite Batman villains. Now we are at the top 5 villains. So, coming at number 5, we have Harleen Quinzel, also known as Harley Quinn. Now, Harley Quinn was first introduced in Batman the Animated Series. She was never introduced in the comic books whatsoever. She never appeared in any comics that involved Batman. But she did, make her first appearance in the animated series. And I'm glad they added her in there because, without the animated series, we probably would have never got a Harley Quinn. And generally speaking, I really, really, really liked Harley Quinn. And she got really popular from the animated series. She got so popular, she spawned off into her own comic book series afterwards, and she still lives on, to this day. She's also in the current Suicide Squad for the New 52, if you guys did not know that. And I'm really glad Harley Quinn's still alive, and she's still living and kicking, because Harley Quinn is a great character. Her backstory in becoming Harley Quinn in the animated series was basically she was a psychiatrist or a doctor working in Arkham Asylum, and she was basically trying to cash in on some of the insane criminals there, and she got a bit hooked on the Joker, and the Joker made her mind snap and turned her into Harley Quinn. Now, personally speaking, yeah, her story was a bit dark and edgy, but really what makes her shine is actually her personality. Because, when I ever watch an episode where Harley Quinn is in it, she really outshines, she outshines everybody else in the, episode, even Batman, Because, personally speaking, her character is very innocent, and she's very peppy and cheerful, and, generally speaking, she is very, very funny, and I really like her. She's silly, and, all in all, I really like her. Her entire personality altogether, and I could say she can actually outshine the Joker in some points, and also can be a bit more funny than the Joker. But don't tell him that, because if the Joker found out, he probably would kill me. But I'm very happy that Harley Quinn is still here, and generally speaking, even though Harley Quinn is silly and her personality is goofy, she is pretty smart. In some of the episodes she does appear in, she sometimes gets close enough to actually off the Batman, or she does prove her worth and actually being a criminal or actually being a villain. And personally speaking, that is great because, just because you're goofy doesn't mean you can be serious and you can actually take down the Batman or actually, rob a bank. That's what makes Harley Quinn so special. And I really like, I really love Harley Quinn in general. She's one of my most favorite, female villains in the Batman universe. So yeah, coming up at number 4 on this, on this list, this villain will generally kill me because he's actually not number 2, because this villain has to do with everything, he deals with everything that has to do with 2. All his crimes have to deal with 2, and anything in general. And I bet you guys have already guessed who this character is, and actually, I will actually show you the pop art hero, not pop art heroes, well yeah, pop art heroes should have, say, pop art villain, because he's actually a villain. If you guys can see this, but there's no glare, this is actually Two-Face from the Funko Pop Art series. And yes, Two-Face takes number 4 on this spot. Yeah, the reason why Two-Face takes number 4 on this spot, well, it's generally speaking because of his character-wise. Because let's give some backstory to Harvey Dent. Harvey Dent was actually a district attorney for Gotham City, and he was also known for being, one of Batman's greatest friends, or bestest friends, and closest friends. And, Batman doesn't have a lot of those, out there. All he has is Commissioner Gordon and the rest of his sidekicks. But generally speaking, he doesn't really have a lot of close friends. So, Harvey Dent was actually one of his personal close friends in, Gotham City. And later on, when he actually turns into Two-Face, whether you choose how he turns into the Two-Face in the Batman the Animated Series or in the comic books, Batman does sort of blame himself for, failing Harvey Dent too. So actually, Harvey Dent does impact Batman in a way because, he lost a good friend. And he sort of blames himself for that, for not being able to help him, for not being able to save him, he actually does want to help Harvey Dent. He actually wants to bring him back to good because, as we all know, when Harvey Dent becomes, Two-Face, his body is half disfigured and half of his other body is normal. So basically, half of his side is actually good and half of it is evil. One side Harvey Dent and the other side his second persona, Two-Face. So normally speaking, Two-Face has a coin, which makes him decide whether or not to do something good or something evil, or whether or not he would go through with an evil deed. And one time this really greatly showed where Robin was actually interrogating the Penguin and Two-Face. And, the Penguin didn't want to give any information out, so Two-Face decided, okay, if you want the information, Robin, we'll flip a coin. If it's good heads, I'll tell you. If it's bad, you don't get zip. And the Penguin was fighting back, saying that, this could be a possible chance that he would give the information to Robin. And in the end, when he flipped the coin, it came up the good heads. And what did Two-Face do? He'd be like, oh, no, I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, it was wrong. Screw the coin. No. He really, really, really bases off everything he does off the coin. So he decides to actually tell Robin, everything. And this really greatly shows that, yes, the coin does really rule the way Two-Face plans out everything, or the way he, acts, or what he does. But generally speaking, inside, there's still Harvey Dent in there. There's still a bit of good in there, and that really makes him for a deep and dark character, and well-driven character in the Batman universe. I really, really, really generally like the Two-Face. And just to put this out there, Troy Baker, who did the voice for Two-Face, did a phenomenal job, and also mentioning he did Robin's voice in Arkham City, if you guys did not know that. Yeah, Troy Baker is an awesome voice actor. And also, the voice actor for Two-Face in Batman the Animated Series. Also, the guy who did the voice for Brain in the Pinky and the Brain the Animated Series also did the voice for Two-Face. And he does a phenomenal job, too. I really like Two-Face. He's a really great character. And that's why he takes number 4 on this spot. Number 3, we have Mr. Freeze. Now, Mr. Freeze's backstory is very, very sad. As well, it was developed in the Batman the Animated Series, where, it was first introduced that the reason why Mr. Freeze is a villain is because he, does these things for his wife, because his wife has cancer or she has an illness. And basically, Mr. Freeze, has her in cryogenic, in a freezing cryogenic state, so basically her illness wouldn't spread and she wouldn't die. And right now, Mr. Freeze is trying to find a cure for her. And basically all his, crimes and whatnot are also just based off, trying to save his wife, Nora. And it's really, really deep and, very serious. And I really feel sympathy for Mr. Freeze. I don't really have any hate towards him at all. I just feel really bad for him because, here's a man who's struggling to save his wife because he loves her so damn much. And they actually do play his character, do play a really big role, significant role. Like Nora does play a really big, significant role in Mr. Freeze's life, because in the animated series, Mr. Freeze was about to, partner up with one of these guys, and the villain just wanted to freeze the whole entire Gotham City. And the guy offered, Mr. Freeze that, okay, if you help me out, then, I will give you the cure for, your wife's illness, or you can actually save her life. And he goes with it. But then in the end, Batman says, how would Nora feel when she is revived and sees this frozen wasteland and it's all your fault? You were the one who did it. How would you feel? And that really just changed his, his ways of, thinking in that whole entire situation. And he went off and tried to, destroy the machine that was going to freeze Gotham City. And yeah, generally speaking, I really like, Mr. Freeze's character. He's very sad. He's very sympathetic. You can feel really sympathetic towards him, And also, one of his most crowning moments in, history for me is in Batman Beyond. One of the episodes he appears in, and one of just the final episodes he actually appears in, you will actually see him and see how he goes through, the whole Batman Beyond universe. Not for just one episode, but you guys have to watch that episode. I don't remember exactly what episode number it is, but check it out if you guys can. It's a really great episode. It's from Batman Beyond the Animated Series, and yeah, I like Mr. Freeze, because his character is very dark. His backstory for doing the things he does is really good, and you feel a bit sympathy towards him. Same thing with, you know, mentioning Harvey Dent. You actually feel bad for Harvey Dent because you actually know that he's sort of good. Yeah, but now moving alongside to number 2 on this list. And I already mentioned him in part 1 of my top 10 personal favorite Batman villains, is Ra's al Ghul. Now, Ra's al Ghul has been alive for 600 years, being revived by the Lazarus Pit over and over and over again, which really makes him a force to be reckoned with because he's very smart, intelligent. He's lived through, like, out history. He lived through the most highest points in history, in history ever, he probably lived through World War II, World War I, he lived through a lot of those. And basically, he's lived so much, he's seen how corrupt the world has become. And, he decides that, maybe we should, create a utopia, kill off human beings and create a better world. And that's generally how he wants to create the world. That's always what he wants to do, is generally recreate the world in his own image and create order instead of having chaos and destruction and evil and whatnot. But personally speaking, his way of thinking isn't all too great either. But when he's pitted against Batman, they're always both equal in strength and brain power. And sometimes, Batman does win in the end. But personally saying, Ra's al Ghul is a force to be reckoned with. He's a very, very, very great character and a very awesome villain at that. And yeah, next up on the number 1 on this list, I think you guys already know who this guy is, I mean, personally, I do love the Joker. And he does take number 1 on the spot. Now, he doesn't take number 1 on the spot because, okay, yeah, we all know Joker is, Batman's greatest adversary. He's always going to be there. He's always going to be fighting against Batman. They're always going to be, head-to-head with one another besides Ra's al Ghul, But, in a sense, that's not the case here. The reason why I like the Joker is because of his character. All these, villains has character, and that's what I like about them. Sorry, excuse me. Burp right there. Really apologize. Did not expect it to happen. But yeah, the reason why I really personally like the Joker is because of his mysterious dark side. You don't know his story. You don't know his origin stories on how he became the Joker. In the animated series, his story's all over the place. You really don't know how he became the Joker. Also, same goes for, the movie Dark Knight. He has multiple stories. Was it because his father was abusive? Was it because of his wife? Because because his wife got carved up by, mobsters and he cut himself in the face? And, how did the Joker become who he came to be? And, like I said, in The Killing Joke, they do try to, give us an origin stories towards the Joker, towards how he became the Joker. And in, Batman, the 1989 movie, we saw, Jack Napier, who was a mobster, and then finally he turned into the Joker by falling in a pit of acid in Axe's chemicals. But, in personal-wise and comic-wise, we don't really know the Joker's backstory and how he came to be. And that's what really makes him a really fantastic and great character. He's very funny, and he's very crazy and psychotic, and I really like that side of him. Though everybody on this list is a bit crazy and psychotic on their own way, except for maybe Bane. And maybe Selena Kyle. Maybe Ra's al Ghul. But everybody else, maybe they do have their own issues. And yeah, and personally, the Joker is like, when you first meet the Batman, if you compare the two, they're almost exactly alike, Because basically, if you met Batman in real life, you would know nothing about him. You would never know he was Bruce Wayne. He doesn't show emotions. He doesn't show you what he's thinking. He doesn't show you how he feels about anything, And that's what makes Batman a great character too. You don't really know anything about him. Same for the Joker. You really don't know what's going on through his head, and that really questions a lot of readers for me, Like, what do you think is going through the Joker's mind? Does he just want anarchy and chaos? Does he just want to destroy things? Is he just mentally crazy and just, what's wrong here, Like, don't you want to help this guy, in all the Batman history, you always see Batman says, I want to help you, Harvey. Let me help you, Harley. Let me help you, Poison Ivy. Let me help you, And then what does he say to Joker? I don't want to help you. You're crazy. You're psychotic. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna hurt you. You know, well, he doesn't say I'm gonna kill you because Batman doesn't kill. But, you know, he's like, you know, there's a lot of jokes out there, you know, where people say like, oh, you know, Batman doesn't really want to save the Joker. He just really wants to beat the crap out of him, you know. And like I said, he was the one who actually greatly impacted Batman by killing off Jason Todd. You know, and Batman did, you know, Batman will always forever fight against the Joker. And this is my personal top 10 favorite Batman villains. And hopefully you guys enjoy this top 10 list. Like I said, let me know what's your favorite, you know, villains down below on the comment section. Or let me know what's your top 10 favorite Batman villains. And I'll gladly like to, you know, talk to you guys about this whatsoever. You know, if you guys have any questions or you has anything to say, just let me know. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching.